over here and let's get this old boy right here. And I believe we are on. Okay, well, howdy. You are Michael
Ingram.
Ingram.
Yes, sir.
When I heard the last name, I automatically went back to my childhood and Charles Ingram. I think that was on Little House on the Prairie, but that's another conversation for another day. Ingalls. No, it was Ingalls. Sorry.
It was Ingalls, but that's ironic. My father is Charles Ingram. That's probably too much information.
See
for
there?
the public,
See
but
there?
Absolutely. He's
Okay,
still with us.
so I want to just start off by having you introduce yourself, because what you do I find absolutely fascinating. I have been somewhat informed, involved through our own media on power grid,
Yeah.
solar panels, and I want to hear about you. Now, you are a researcher of, let me make sure I get this right, National Renewable Energy Lab.
Yes.
Okay, so break it down to me.
Break it down.
Tell me about that first and foremost.
I had a gentleman ask me what a typical day looks like for me, and I kind of said, well, if you ever watch that show where they phone a friend, I'm the friend. That's
Okay.
I've been in the business, in the utility business, I'll say, the power systems business for almost 40 years, going on 38 years. So I'm also like that guy on the insurance commercial. I've seen a thing or two.
Right.
But I'm a chief engineer at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Been with NREL 10 years.
Okay.
Working in power systems primarily. I started out there dipping my toe into cybersecurity, cyber-physical security. Worked in that space for a couple years. Applied some of my experience from, I worked at a utility before. And then moved into the richer, broader area of power systems engineering, drawing on all of my prior career at the Tennessee Valley Authority, working in a lot with some of the topics that you're interested in interconnection, which is the connection of renewable energy primarily, especially in the case with NREL, with distributed energy resources, which are small, rooftop solar or back of the, backyard solar, where you see these small panels associated with a building or an office or, even a campus. But we also work with utilities and others on large scale, what we call utility scale solar, these fields of solar panels and the interconnection, the implication of those on how they interact and work with the grid, especially when there is a disturbance. That's when things get, as a friend of mine used to say, fun and exciting, but not at the same time.
Sure. I get that.
We have we do a lot of work in wind interconnection, wind resources, wind research too. I'm not as involved in that. I've also done a lot of work with other federals and some communities on resilience, helping them to plan and develop things like resilience hubs, where local community members can go to a place during an event, during a disaster potentially, where they can find shelter, where they can find a little bit of electricity to contact family members, charge their phones and things like that. Maybe a cool storage for their medicines. Not a place to live, but a place to shelter for a brief time. Not the building itself, of course. I'm not an architect or a civil engineer, but what does it take to power that when everything else has gone dark?
Well, I mean, these things are so critical. And something that you're hearing a lot more of, especially going on right now, is affordability, whether it comes to housing, utilities. Now, I happen to be from an area that through housing, through electrical bills, they have been hit pretty hard, and we have done extensive research from our end, and just talking to engineers, like fantastic people like you, is you start looking at old mill houses, and when you start taking a look at insulation, and what's happened is that meter is running, and the power bills are out of this world. Like I was just telling a friend of mine outside, on our way in here. I was like, I've literally seen an elderly couple, senior citizen, come to me with a $700 power bill for the month.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and you're looking at it, you're like, there's no way that's possible. Oh, it's possible. And it's possible and it's real. And one thing I like hearing from you is there are alternatives to having somebody being hamstrung by, an excessive power bill. Is that some of the things that you are primarily interested in, or have a knowledge base and expertise on alternatives to things of that nature?
Well, I'm not an energy efficiency expert, but I do have a power bill.
Sure.
And I do sympathize with
Right.
your question, your position. I think I told you I live just about a half a dozen blocks from here in the historic district, and I have one of those old homes.
Sure.
And I can hear everything outside because the walls are so thin. Back in those days, we didn't have polar breakouts like we're having every year now with these winter storms. So I've got a couple old cats, and they're like, "What are you doing to me here?"
Yeah.
The floor is so cold. But what I did when I bought that house is it had a really old air conditioner, like maybe with a nameplate of late 70s or something. And I knew that if I brought my wife down here and we moved into that place from Tennessee and that air conditioner went out in June, that I would be alone.
Yes, you would.
So
And there ain't no kind of rage like that kind of rage, but that's a conversation for another day.
So the first thing I did was take out a loan with a company that supplied those, a no interest loan, and replace that old air conditioner.
Right.
And that's been the best investment to my marriage and and to my home. It's helped avoid those, despite the inflation in my old home, to avoid those $700 bills.
Yeah.
And I know it to avoid those $700 bills.
Yeah.
And I know it can't do that, but stepping back and looking at the technology that is your home, is your envelope, the appliances that you have that are heating and cooling in your home, working with the local utility or NGOs that can come and do, they call them audits, energy audits, to come in and say, well, yeah, if you had limitless funds, if you could replace all the windows and spray in insulation, do all these things, but the priority that will help the most, and I'm not that expert, is this and this and this. And they have experts not only on the engineering side, but on the financial side, and can help put them with grants or loans. So taking advantage of that is really important.
Absolutely. What is your take on wind, whether it be solar panels or
Or renewable energy in general?
exactly? What's your
Like I said, I was sort of raised up professionally in the power system business. As I was I explained it to another gentleman, it's like your 401k or your mutual fund. You don't have all of your retirement invested in one stock. You have
Correct.
it invested in across the market because that's safer. It's the same way with the power system. If we have all of our energy, if the utility has all their energy from natural gas or another source, then it is beholden to that supply chain, to that manufacturer in some cases. So just like your portfolio in 401k, you need a sound and broad energy portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So not just natural gas, nuclear too, but also renewable energy, because it has a different supply chain, it has a different maintenance cycle, it has a different cost structure. All of those things come together to build, like your 401k, which I hope is doing better than mine. It's more sound, it's more resilient,
Right.
to use that word. And so just from that perspective, just from my experience, I think it's important. I'll stop there before I say something
I
I don't want to
understand.
say.
I understand, and I guess what I'm hearing from you is, it's critical, important to diversify when
Yes,
it
sir.
comes to so that's
Good
the,
words,
and
good
you know
word.
what, though, it's all about options. The more options we have, the closer we can get to a resolution for whatever the issue is that we're looking at. And so I really do appreciate that, and I can only imagine the technological advances that are happening every day in your field.
Absolutely, absolutely. Since I joined NREL, one of the, and this is probably it's probably dry from an engineer, even from an engineering perspective, but when we first started putting solar energy on the system, the connecting equipment was very basic, and the standards associated with that relatively simple. But in 2018, the industry organization that develops those standards recognized that there was an opportunity for especially solar panels and that connecting equipment to interact better with the grid, to be a good citizen is one of the terms that we use, a good citizen of the grid, to support the grid when things go kind of south. There were some events, especially in California, you could look up Blue Cut Fire, and how those solar panels that were more simply developed, simply engineered than the newer standard, how they reacted to events on the transmission on the grid system. And so with the new standard for that connecting equipment, there's a lot more opportunity, not just for simplified connection, but for partnership between that equipment and the grid itself. And I hope folks that are on the technical side recognize that and look forward to using that equipment, not only in that diversification, but as a partner, if you will, for grid management and grid stability.
Well said, well said. What I take away from that is, I know we're in football season,
Amen.
and what you're doing is basically the offensive line. I mean, we can talk about the running back, we can talk about the receivers, talk about the quarterbacks, but you know what? Somebody's got to block.
Those big uglies are very
Somebody's
important.
got to block. And I remember I was watching the Blind Side movie years ago.
Yes.
And I think the characters,
Lord.
yep, and Sandra Bullock said, you know what, it's just like this right here. The first check you write is for the house. The second check you write is for the insurance. And you know what? And what you were doing is protecting the investment of the house. And not a lot of times people don't look at it like that, but trust me, you know this, we know this, and if you don't know this, one day you will know this, is it is critical
It'll be like
to
the
have
Campbells.
that infrastructure in place.
That's right.
Absolutely. Where can they find out more about you and your operation and everything you bring to the table?
Well, nrel.gov is our website. We do a lot of things, especially in renewable energy, but and that includes hydro, includes wind, includes solar. We're very involved, deeply involved in materials and grid simulation. We have a program that the real geeks will get interested in that we call ARIES. It's like the Roman god, ARIES. Encourage you to take a look at that. If you want to know
Okay.
more about me, and you're really bored, I guess. I'm on LinkedIn,
Great.
and I have all of our researchers, all of our personnel at NREL have dedicated web pages. So if you just NREL Michael Ingram, it should take you there, and you can see the papers and the projects that I've been involved with in my career there.
Outstanding, outstanding, sir. Hey, listen, thank you for spending time with us. Please check him out on LinkedIn website to get more information, because this is extremely important in this era that we're in now. You're going to hear a lot of conversations in real time right now and moving forward on housing and utilities, etc., to find out, okay, where are we here? What's the future? And how do we navigate through it? So thank you for spending time with us. Please check him out. Michael, thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you.